What a day today is. Kirisama is finally on global. Just like the other ninja, Genzo, we had to wait for months to get this guy because if you guys didn't know, fun fact, Kirisama was the second Super Awoken character to come out in JP, but on global, he's what, the 12th? I'm pretty sure. So a little bit behind, numbers got a little bit jumbled up there. But hey, he is finally here, and with him being here, you already know what we gotta do. Should you summon? And this banner is crazy, man. Wild banner. Like, just looking at this, I feel like you've been playing the game, you've been following it for a year. Even if you've been following the game for maybe 6 months, you understand some of the characters that are on this banner are just wild. Twelveg is crazy archgen. He has a cleanse and a status resist buff on his arts. Also, when he activates third eye, he gives everyone 100 art gauge instantaneously. Another thing is that since he gives everyone 100 art gauge instantaneously, if you're able to loop back into his true art, which you probably will be able to, you can use it instantly to apply a 60% physical res debuff on the enemy. But yeah, Twelveg is an absolutely amazing character. He's probably one of the best Awoken characters to come out. He was actually, what, is he the final Awoken character to come out on global? I think he was. He was one of the final Awoken characters to come out. And man, they really went out with a bang with this character because he is top tier, ladies and gentlemen. One of the best, easily like top 10 in the game right now. Highly recommend though, if you do get him, pick up his true weapon to give him 100 art gauge at the start of the quest. Moving on over to the next unit, which is going to be the girl Valerie. Now Valerie is a little bit different. She's not as versatile as that of 12th generation Mizuki, but is still extremely powerful. Valerie is a key damage buffer to water characters. If you are a water unit, you get 240% damage up when Valerie uses her true art, which is absurd. That's one of the highest damage buffs in the entire game, even whenever you include super awoken characters. Not to mention too, her true weapon is amazing for any nuke comp that wants to use it, or if you want to use it on her, it's amazing for her as well. The only issue with Valerie is that if you aren't using water characters, you won't really be turned to Valerie, but if you are using a water character, throw Valerie on and you're going to see some crazy damage numbers. And then the last side character on this banner is going to be Charlotte. Charlotte is similar to Valerie, but a little bit more versatile, or universal, let me say. That's a better term for it. Charlotte is able to apply a massive 150% arts damage buff to the entire team as long as no one is affected by a status ailment. Arts damage is a universal buff that everyone benefits from, whether you're a physical damage dealer, a magical damage dealer, a non-elemental damage dealer, doesn't matter what you are, you get the massive arts damage buff and you're going to benefit from this. Now, some people may say that Charlotte is no longer needed because we have other characters like Summer Lisa, we have Rin, we got Draken for physical, and yeah, sure, you can say that, but I will say that Charlotte is like the next best thing whenever you don't have like the meta damage buffers. So let's say you're doing a physical team, it's like, okay, I don't have Draken, or maybe you don't even have Sestina. Well, Charlotte is your next best option in those compositions. Or let's say you're doing a magic comp. Even if you're doing a full magic comp, you still want someone else to buff up the damage. You don't have Summer Lisa, or maybe you don't have Rin or whoever. Well, you can throw Charlotte on there just for the arts damage buff, so that way the team is still benefiting from some type of massive damage buff. I will say though, is that if you do have these characters like Draken, or if you do have these characters for magic like Rin or Summer Lisa or Santa Rimuru, then yeah, she's not as good because you already have some of the best damage buffers for those specific damage types. But in terms of being a universal damage buffer, she's great for just rounding out your roster. And then the last boy, the man himself, Kirisama. One of my favorite design units, not in terms of the kit, just because of the artwork. I really love it. I'm a very simple man. If you're a character that has a huge sword, I probably love you. You're one of the best characters I've ever seen in my life. But what does this character do? Is he worth it, right? He's been delayed so much. Maybe he was delayed because he was bad and he wasn't good. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you right now, that is absolutely not the case. Kirisama is going to be our taunt tank for the Super Awoken era, or at least for right now. There's no other character in the game that is a Super Awoken taunt tank. If you look at his kit, he has a lot of stuff that's able to give him art gauge, or able to inflict burns, redirect damage, and give himself barriers. And if you look at his super art, if he's in true third eye, he will cleanse 2 damage res debuffs on himself. If you don't know what damage resist down debuffs are, you just haven't played in-game content, just know this is amazing. This is one of the most broken things that any tank can have in this game, and the fact that he has it is wild. He also has a few passives that really help his tanking. Like whenever he enters third eye, he gets 30% DR just instantaneously, and then he will get another 20% DR if you fight an enemy that is burning. If he's in true third eye though, he will also get an additional 20% physical res. So if an enemy is burning and you're in true third eye, you are getting a total of 70% DR if you're fighting a physical character. And the last passive he has is he's able to increase his own arts by 50, which just makes him faster. Now, if you do wind up opting in for his true weapon, this actually does give him paralysis and freeze resist 100%, and it will also extend the duration of his third eye by 60 seconds. So Kirisama, just off of that alone, is extremely strong as a taunt tank, like very, very powerful. He has so much stuff that's able to give him massive barriers or be able for him to even hit a little bit hard because his modifiers are somewhat high for a tank. Not to mention too that he has so much passive DR, so he doesn't really need too much support on the team to kind of help him tank a lot of the harder fights. But I will say I'm not too big of a fan of Kirisama like I was whenever he initially released. And there's a few reasons for that. One of the reasons is that Kirisama is a character that relies on burning an enemy or having an enemy in a burning state to get the maximum amount of damage resist from him. Well, in a lot of boss fights at endgame, they're just immune to status effects. You can't even inflict them with status effects. Even if you have like 100% burn res down on them, they're just immune to status effects, so you can't inflict them with burn no matter what. Another thing about Kiri that I'm not too big of a fan of is the fact that his true weapon is really good on him, and you're gonna want to use it on him, but it just doesn't last long enough. It's a good skill, like the 20% DR and stuff is good, but it just needs a higher duration. And since it's only on 10 seconds, it means that you're probably going to need someone else on the team with a 5-star defense slot to be able to help kind of mitigate some of the damage that Kirisama is going to be taking in a lot of these in-game fights like Summoner's Road, high DOT, or even high-level mines. But those are really my only gripes with him. Apart from that, he has everything that you could possibly want for a tank. But is he worth your crystals? And this is what I would say. In terms of the banner as a whole, this is absolutely worth at least a multi-summon on it, especially if you're lacking all of these characters. If you don't have the Valerie, you don't have the Charlotte, you don't got the 12th generation Mizuki, summon on this banner because all of them are high value characters. But let's say you weren't really too interested in the banner mates. Do I think it's worth it to go after Kirisama or chase Kirisama? And to that I say, I don't think he is as meta-breaking, or not meta-breaking, but he's not as much of a priority as some other super woken characters that's coming out later on, like Star God Lisa and stuff. The reason why I say this is because we have a lot of taunt tanks in the game that are still very good, like extremely versatile characters that are still used in in-game content. Like Miranda, for an example, is an amazing magic resist tank character. Volti LR is an amazing physical resist tank character and can even be used in just pretty much any content. Thetis is still Thetis. He doesn't deal really any damage anymore, but he can still tank a hit really well. And since we have all those characters, and all of those characters you can obtain through the Forever Summon, so if you are lacking a tank, you can get them for free. It makes it to where Kirisama isn't as required as some people may think. Now, it doesn't mean that I think he's bad. To be honest, I would say Kirisama is probably the best taunt tank that we have at the moment. But in terms of like the gap between him and everyone else, it's really not that big. So if you want to chase for Kirisama just because you like his artwork or the case may be, hey, then go right ahead, do it. But if you just want to do one summon, see what you get, and then just call it at that, hey, I respect that too, man. I really do. As for me, myself, I'm gonna be doing a summon video on him just because I really love Kirisama. His artwork is sick. His banner is amazing. I need all of these characters. But ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you all again for coming out. It's been your boy P. Tell me down below, are you guys gonna be going for Kirisama, or are you summoning on the banner to hopefully get 12th generation Mizuki or Charlotte or Valerie? Let me know all that type of stuff. And if you are gonna be summoning on this banner, I wish you the best of luck. But hey, that's gonna be it for this one, man. Thank you all again for coming out. And last but not least, you guys already know, don't forget to drink water.